Hi, my name is Risa Dickson, and welcome to myCSUSB Academics. Today, I'll be interviewing Felix Zuniga, who graduated from Cal State with a bachelor's degree in Information Technology and Accounting and an MBA in Information Technology and Entrepreneurship. He now works for Cal State as an information technology consultant. Felix is a founding board member to host the Latino Education Advocacy Day here at Cal State. He's involved in many initiatives that focus on raising the number of Latinos who graduate from college and serves on the executive board for the Latino Scholastic Achievement Corporation. Today, I'll also be interviewing Dr. Louie Rodriguez, who is an assistant professor in educational leadership and curriculum at Cal State San Bernardino. He's also a core faculty member in the Doctorate in Educational Leadership program. Dr. Rodriguez is one of our alums, and after completing his degree here, went on to complete his doctoral work at Harvard University. Louie is committed to research expanding educational equity, opportunity, and access for historically marginalized children in the U.S., and has worked as a teacher and counselor in high-poverty schools and communities. Both Louie and Felix are involved with the CSUSB LEAD project here at Cal State. Welcome, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
So the LEAD project has to do with the state of education for Hispanics.
One thing to think about is kind of where we are at the beginning of the 21st century in terms of our demographic kind of revolution that we're currently in. Right now, when you look at the statistics, we are, in terms of school-age population, Latino children make up about 20% of the entire population in our public schools in the United States.
Wow.
About 1 in 5. When you look specifically at California, and even more specifically in our local area, those numbers go to 50% and even 80 and 90, in some cases all Latino students in a particular school or community. So that's one area. And one of the things I like to do when I characterize the crisis is it's really unprecedented, given the demographic revolution, the fact that the Latino community is the youngest and fastest growing population in the United States. And when you look at that, and then you look at where we're represented in terms of outcomes and attainment measures, such as graduation rates, we have one of the lowest graduation rates of all groups.
When you say graduation rate, you're talking about from high school? From
high school, exactly. And it's not much better. In fact, in some cases, it could be worse at the college level. When we're looking at the high school level, some reports, and it depends on the statistics that you look at, but it's anywhere from 50 to 70% dropout rates.
Oh my gosh.
So that means that in some cases, less than 5 out of the 10 entering freshmen actually walk across the stage.
Is this high school freshmen?
These are high school all the way to freshmen all the way to seniors.
Okay.
Sometimes those numbers are not as accurate when they're taken by government measures.
Right. And
often the best way, and I consider myself a researcher who looks at this issue specifically. Probably the most accurate way is looking at freshmen compared to exiting seniors to look at an accurate picture. The other areas that we're really struggling with is just achievement gaps from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade, which leads up to often the dropout problem. We also have a very a low educated adult population, in that a lot of, if we have a high dropout rate, our young adults are not going into college and they're not having an advanced education.
Right.
So we also are overrepresented in the number of uneducated adults. So with those numbers and those statistics, just a brief snapshot demonstrates that we're really in a crisis, not to mention current budget crises and how that's affecting the schools. Not to mention the number of educators, and specifically Latino educators. A lot of times our numbers are not keeping up with our demographic. Right now, Latino teachers only make up 6% of the entire teaching force. And that's important because the question becomes, does it really take a Latino teacher to teach Latino kids?
Right.
The answer is no, because we have many teachers from other races and cultures and ethnicities teaching our kids and doing a good job. But what's significant about that statistic is that Latino teachers are less likely to leave predominantly Latino schools when there are budget cuts.
Oh, okay.
Which is a really interesting, and I think the researchers are still trying to figure out, well, why?
Yeah, why? That would be my question.
So, we have that, and then we have other social factors and economic factors that are going on. Lack of political representation in certain communities, health issues and health disparities. We see the rates of obesity and high blood pressure.
Yeah, and I understand diabetes.
Diabetes, exactly. And so there's a health education component and just health awareness that's necessary. We see challenges with housing and segregation and the quality of services that a particular community, and Latinos are the most segregated group. They just passed African Americans in the year 2000 after the census data was released as being the most segregated group in the country right now.
And that's interesting because I don't think most people think about those kinds of things. In what ways, how are they segregated?
A lot of it is directly through housing. And so where people live obviously has an impact on where they send their kids to school.
Right.
Sometimes people choose to live where they live in terms of comfort zone, language, and culture familiarity, family reunification. But other aspects is a lot of people don't have a choice where they live. They go where the housing is cheaper.
Okay.
And right now with our housing crisis, you know, there's a report recently released by the National Council of Risa indicating that Latinos, approximately over the next few years, 1.3 million Latinos homes will go into foreclosure.
Oh my gosh.
Which has a huge impact on mental health, on family unity, on the children specifically. A lot of families are having to move in with one another. So if you think about the crisis facing Latinos in education, in many ways you can start at the level of a school, but it's directly impacted by these contextual kind of structural, these poverty, these economic and social and political factors that are directly impacting what happens in our classrooms. If you have a community of first-time home buyers who are losing their homes, once the loan is forfeited to the bank, who's paying the property taxes? Right. And the property taxes go directly to the schools.
Oh, okay.
So there's a link there that you know, a lot of times it's a lot of educators don't understand that, or they're just not exposed to those kinds of connections. And I think that's one of the things that we're trying to launch here at Cal State is movement in that direction.
Great. It's time to take a break. We'll be right back.